As a busy person with altogether far too many things going on all the time, I find myself not being able to play D&D in person, which means I do it all online. I'm sure there's a secret third way of doing things, but I don't know what it is. By carrier pigeon, maybe? All that this means is that I use a very particular set of tools in order to get the job done when I'm running and when I'm playing in D&D, and I thought it would be worthwhile going over those so that if you are looking into doing D&D online, you can do so using the same things I do. These tools all help ensure that I am the best DM I can be, which is middling at best, probably, if we're all being honest. Hello, my name is Jason, and this is Dungeon Himbo, my channel where I talk about builds and third-party reviews and DM advice and game design things and whatever else pops into my head as long as it's D&D related. While I have played in person, most of my game time in D&D has been online for the simple fact that my game group is spread across the world. We have players in multiple continents and multiple time zones, and that means that getting together just isn't realistic. That's to say nothing of the fact that I have a day job, I do a silly YouTube channel, and I work out and also have children and a family. Children are part of the family. That's how that works. Which means that I spend a lot of time doing stuff that I have to do rather than stuff that I want to do. Not that I don't want to spend time with my kids, because I do. They're wonderful. That's not what this is about. Let's just go back to the thing. Online means that I don't have to spend time traveling, and it also means that my player pool, or my DM pool, is potentially just everyone, so I'm coming for you. We'll play at some point. But as I use tools I don't think everyone does use, I wanted to go over them. So let's go through them, starting off with the VTT, which is obviously one of the most important things. This is Tailspire. Tailspire is my VTT of choice. I have used a few others, including Roll20 and the maps function on D&D Beyond, which I do actually quite like, and has gotten better and better as we've gone forward, so that's always good too. But Tailspire is the one that my group used when I joined it, and is the one that I most prefer using, and there are a few reasons for this. For starters, as someone who owns Tailspire, I have now bought 4 seats, which allows me to let other players that I want to have come and join me not buy the game at all, but play for free on their end, which is handy. The coolest thing about Tailspire, though, is that it is fully 3D, which allows you to do all sorts of fantastic stuff with it. Here, for example, we have a map of Chult, complete with a bunch of stuff that my players have seen or are seeing. I have, for example, listed a bunch of places on here that my players have been to, such as Camp Bright, the Gobbos, who they found, Camp Vengeance, and Yellayarg. I did not make this map. I found it on a website. I will cover in a minute in the website section. And while the map here is undoubtedly very, very cool, just so you get the scale of it, it is a big old map. This is the macro size part of it, right? Not the micro size part of it. So let's take a look at a smaller map, for example. This is another one I found online. I do make some myself, but they end up looking a lot worse than the ones that people who are much more talented than me make. This allows you to quite simply play D&D. As you can see, there is a library of building pieces, so if you did want to spend time putting something together yourself, it is quite easy to do, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You've also got a bunch of different creatures. Some of these already have names. Sometimes you have to go into the community tab in order to find different ones, and more AI stuff has been popping up here because God is dead, but there are also just plenty of cool models in general. As you move your pieces around, you can actually have it so it measures out how far they've moved, which makes combat a lot more tactical, which I adore. And you can even do things like measure out spheres, allowing you to figure out how large of an area a fireball covers, for example, and figure out exactly where you want to place it as a player or as a DM. Not only that, but if you use Hero Forge, a website which allows you to build your own models, you actually can import those and build your own models in here. This allows you to have all of your weird and wonderful models displayed and controlled by players, as you can assign these to different players quite easily, which is fantastic if that's what you're looking to do. You can also change the size of them, have them do little things like wiggle, or even knock them down. You can also give them stats if you want to run it entirely in Tailspire, but that's not my preference. My preference is to use a different website to keep track of monster stats and health and player health as well. But it allows for a much crunchier and much cooler way of running combat, in my opinion, especially as the DM, you can hide models and then unhide them when they are relevant, basically. It allows you a massive amount of control over all sorts, and while there are combat maps that are this size, there are also ones like this, which is more of a dungeon crawl one. This person has even put numbers over each of the rooms, if you're looking to do that kind of thing, and plenty of intricate and lovely places to have fights occur as well. It means that you can always check line of sight, because if you choose your model, you can see exactly what they can see. Although I wish there was a first person mod, that would be absolutely incredible. And a cool feature they added recently is that you can actually have it so that players can only see a set amount. if there is a player here. As a DM, I can see what it is that this player can see as they're moving around and figure out what it is that they're moving into. This completely eradicates everything outside of that, making for a really cool way to do exploration if you're looking to do that in a larger map. Of course, you can also change the sight range as needed, which is always a good thing to have access to. That's to say nothing of the mass of different settings you can have as and when you need it, an amazing array of music and sound effects, and plenty of cool effects as well, such as being able to make everything creepy and red if that's what you'd like to do, which is lovely to have access to. This is Phandalin, by the way, or the version of it that still exists in my game. It's just a fantastic way to play the game, and it allows players and DMs a lot more tactical freedom, along with a lot more creative freedom. Finding things like crowbars or ropes in the map makes it very easy to be like, can I use this rope to do X? And it takes away some of the effort required to describe all of these extra things your players might be paying attention to as well. I alluded to finding maps online, and I do that via this website. Specifically, Tales Tavern has an absurd number of maps on here, thanks to the many talented people that decide to upload maps and all sorts. And you can even find specific collections, for such as Lost Mines of Phandelver, Icewind Dale, and a few other classic campaigns as well, along with being able to just search for things. Slabs you can find and copy and paste into your game, quite literally, and boards you can load up and then edit as you need to. Either way, it keeps a lot of the prep time for different sessions a lot lower than it would be if I was making the maps myself, and I could not do it without the incredible people that upload their things regularly. Next is Improved Initiative, which is a fantastic website built by Evan Bailey, who I do support on Patreon because I think it's that good. This has a mass of different stat blocks in it, and you can upload ones as you buy books and add those in as well. And basically allows me to instantly add creatures into a fight, check not only what their AC and hit points and things like that are, but also their specific stats and saves, along with traits, their actions, and if I want to, I can even roll the dice in here as well. And then when I click on another creature, I can apply that 17 damage to that creature, for example. We do roll everything in Tailspire, so I roll everything out in the open, which is my preferred way to do things as a DM, for a few reasons I will go into at some point in a video. But this basically allows me to completely track absolutely everything outside of things like spell slots, which I'm not going to keep track of. I have faith in my players that they will do so themselves, unless they're new players, in which case I will keep an eye on their D&D Beyond stat sheet. But Improved Initiative also allows you to save a bunch of encounters as you want. You can check out different spells, and you can even upload more ones as you need to. It has just a preposterous number of features, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. So if you're looking for a way to keep track of initiative and statuses and things like that, because you can add things like stunned as needed, which will then link to the relevant condition, this is a great way to do it. The other website I use is obviously D&D Beyond, where I have my characters and campaigns and player characters as well, so I can keep track of their stat sheets. And as I said, the maps functionality is also getting better and better as well, which is always good. I haven't used it in a little while, but it's a fantastic option for those who don't want to have to run multiple different websites at the same time, even though Beyond can occasionally be a bit of a RAM gobbler. And then obviously the final thing I use is communication tools, which I really have two options for. I either use Discord if I can, it's my preference. The sound quality and video quality is better. I always like videos on so I can see my players and keep track of their reactions and emotions and make sure I can push or pull as needed whenever I feel like there should be pressure or there shouldn't be pressure on different players or different character beats. I like to think I can read people relatively well, so having access to a camera really helps on that front. It also makes for a more social and I guess immersive feeling for everyone involved. And then Teams is the other option, because not all of my players are in countries which can use Discord without needing a VPN, and it just messes everything else up. Whereas Teams just works for everyone. Does it work well? No, not really. But it does work, and that's really all you needed to do. But that is it for this. That was nice and easy, wasn't it? I hope you enjoyed this. That's everything that I use to run D&D online, and hopefully you can do the same now. Like I said, you can change the VTT to one of your choice, Roll20, Owlbear Rodeo, countless other options. There are even other options outside of Tailspire on Steam, which is where I have Tailspire. So find the one that works for you and your group and then make the most of it. I just like the fully 3D thing and the fact that we can put Hero Forge models in. It's fun. But I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing it and talking about D&D, shockingly. I hope that you are doing well and continue to do well. Please check out some other videos, which I will link to in spaces, because that's how these things work. And I will see you whenever it is I next see you. Do take care of yourselves and have a good weekend ahead of you. Goodbye.